Hi, Kris. At the beginning of the season, you were coaching in the AHL, and you could have no inkling of that this would be happening.
None whatsoever.
I mean, well, so, I mean, in your headspace right now, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking about the next game. I think after it's all said and done, then I'll look back and reflect on how the season went and how amazing everything was, and probably, obviously enjoy it and think about all the positives. But right now, there hasn't been much time for that. It's just been, who's our next opponent? What are we doing next game? What's our next lineup? All that stuff.
Left side, third row, Derek.
Hey, Kris. You guys are on the cusp of doing something historic here, and you guys have been, like, the season we've been around, it's been up and down all the way. If you don't close this out, does that put pressure on this team to close this thing out? Because if you don't, then none of the ride will matter.
I think we've been enjoying this ride, and I don't know. I think it's been a long year. I think players have had their backs up against the wall since November. It's a couple of playoff series and definitely the last 3 or 4 games here. But hey, our goal is here to win our last game of the season. I think there's 32 teams in the NHL that want the last game to be a victory. And you ask any team after it's done, they're disappointed when they don't win that last game. So we want to win the last game.
In that same row, Jim.
Kris, what's it like as a coach to go into a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final knowing you've got the best player in the world on your team?
Yeah, it's definitely an added bonus, having the best player. Not only having the best player, but playing extremely well right now. I think not only do you have the advantage with him on the ice, but I think it also just breeds confidence throughout the team. And I know the players are looking around the room and seeing who's ready to go and who's contributing, and they see their leader and the best, their captain and the best player ready to go. I just give so much confidence to the rest of the guys to go out there and give it their best.
Right side in the middle, Slav.
Kris, you guys are 5-0 now in elimination games in these playoffs. Whatever the team's doing leading up to these games has obviously worked. Is there anything you can do before this game to ensure that you guys are kind of doing what you've been doing leading up to it in the previous games?
I think just staying with the course. We're not going to do anything differently. We've always had little adjustments for whoever we're playing, lineup tweaks, maybe a little emphasis on something with our system, but we haven't did anything very drastic. And, we're playing a very big game tomorrow night. It'll be very much the same as what we've done throughout the playoffs.
Left side, second row, Steven.
Kris, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins obviously is new to you, but he's been around this organization for a long time. I'm wondering what you've learned about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, about as kind of someone who's been through a lot of the tough times here, and kind of what that experience brings to a group like this.
Yeah, Ryan's, you think about Leon and Connor being the central point of our team just because of the 2 stars. But Ryan has a lot to do with the team also, not only with this play on the ice, big part of our penalty kill, big part of our power play, usually playing on our top line or on our second line, but also a player that's been with the organization for a very long time. In fact, 13 years tomorrow. But I think a lot of players have a lot of respect for him, just because he's seen it all. He's seen a lot of down years, not making playoffs, playoff disappointments. And now for him being able to have the opportunity to win that last game of the season, I think everyone's very happy for him.
Left side, second row, Dan.
I'm impressed when Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the date that he was drafted. Do you look at these moments? This is the big picture of it all, and you're in the small picture, I understand. Do you look at these moments? Are these legacy-defining moments? Is this a career-defining moment, if you will, for teams, for players?
I think we're just not looking into that. I think we're just looking at one day at a time. And after that day, I think that's up to you guys to decide what everyone's legacy is and what was at stake. I think that's too far of the picture. There's so many other intangibles. I think we're just, I don't know, I think we've had a lot of success this year. We go back to, I don't know what day it was, November 23rd or whatever day it was. We were in Washington. We did some goal setting, and then we shortened our season on just, let's not look down the road. Let's just look at what's ahead of us right now. And, we broke our game into 8-game segments, but ultimately what we wanted to do is just take one day at a time. And, we've got 2 days left of our season. Tomorrow will be the last day. We're just trying to enjoy it and make the most out of it.
Left side, fifth row, Elliott.
Chris, I'm just the mechanics of the challenge the other night. Is it Noah's call or is it your call? Like, who makes the decision that we're going to challenge in that moment?
It is my call. I decide on the, obviously calling the ref over and telling him we were going to challenge it. I would say 95 to 98% of the information that I get is from Noah. And, there's some things that Noah knows exactly what's called, and he looks at the video. He gets all the information. He decides what the likelihood of a call being overturned is, whether it's goaltender interference, offside. Offside's usually a lot clearer than goaltender interference because goaltender interference is subjective. And then he'll radio to me, or actually to Mark Stewart, who's on the headset. Mark will tell me what he sees. Obviously, all the coaches are looking at the video feed by our feet. And then, I have to decide at what point in the game is this a good time to challenge. And, the score will dictate that. The likelihood of getting the call right is obviously the most important thing. But, it's, often what's overlooked is, do challenge, is it right or wrong? But if you look at, let's just say if you have a 75% penalty kill, if you had 4 challenges and you only got 1 right and got 3 wrong, it's a wash. So, there's obviously a lot of attention on were you right or were you wrong, but over the course, if you can overturn a goal, that's huge, even if you are wrong occasionally. Now, making that decision, it's a lot easier when your penalty kill is going well. Gives you a lot more confidence to make that call. But, we had the confidence that was offside, and we would just go on from there.
Left side in the back, Tony.
Afternoon, Chris. You talk about that November 23rd practice. That was exactly 7 months ago to this day, but I want to ask you about the night before, that 6-3 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. When you were coming off the bench to this moment tonight, Sunday night before Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, what's been the most gratifying thing of coaching this group?
How they've responded, how resilient they are. There's been, a lot of tough times, and probably highlighted with this series being down 3-0 and a lot of people saying they don't have a chance. And I don't think there was ever a moment in that dressing room that they didn't think they had a chance. That was probably the most noticeable time to see how resilient they are. But throughout the season, there's been many times where they've shown that. It was just highlighted after Game 3.
Right side, fourth row, Ryan.
Chris, just checking in on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins if he's at any risk of not being available tomorrow night, and if Evander Kane is healthy enough to draw in if there's a need.
Yeah, Evander is available. We feel there won't be any issue. Today was just a maintenance day. He'll be playing tomorrow. It'd take a lot to take Ryan out of the lineup tomorrow.
We'll take one more. Left side, second row, Mark.
He just stole my question, so I'll ask you, are you going to miss us after a couple days from now?
Of course. I'm going to try and get as many of your phone numbers and we can connect this somewhere.